Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, you may be asking, where are all these videos? What happened to the videos? Okay, there's nothing. Where's the videos? Just comment down. Okay, we've been busy. We had a few hiccups. Family problems had to be solved and all settled now. So everything's back under control. So we're back to normal now. Now, in today's episode, we're going to go through last week's. We're not going to go through all the games. Okay, we're just going to go through our team and possible trading targets. We're going to do Captain's Corner. And, and we'll go through all the results, all the leagues, etc. So, buckle up. It could be a long one. Now, our Spuds last week scored a 23-36. Now, I don't know if I should be happy or sad, but to be honest, I wasn't very happy at all. I've even got Spuds in my draft league. Look at this. We got smashed by 400 points. They got a percentage booster against us. Didn't even look at the team. Half the team was injured. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Now, we scored a top 9% score, and to be honest, we're in round 16. Well, it was last week, it was round 16. It's not good enough, okay? If we're going to get to the top rankings, scoring a 23-36 is not good, okay? Now, well, we needed to score in a top 2 to 3%. We need to do that this week as well. Our ranking, we're up to 77. Our team is in shambles right now. I've gone through all the ins and outs, and there's some outs. Okay, we've got a problem. Just coming down. The fish is gone. Now, we're going to replace the fish. Actually, we may keep the fish. We don't know what we're going to do with the fish. So, we'll go through that now. Now, how did our team go last week? All right, we captained Dacos. Actually, who do we vice-captain? We vice-captain Zorko, scored a 115. We didn't take it because we wanted the extra point from Dacos, who scored 116. Well, to be honest, who else could we have captained? Okay, well, there's the Bont at 157, and that's it. Okay, there's no one else. Actually, and McGovern at 132. So we've actually got the third highest scoring player in our team. That's not too bad, considering all the carnage. Dacos 116. He's averaging 119. He's very reliable, all right, and we're actually quite lucky because he kicked a few goals. He didn't have his best game. Going through his scores. Very consistent. Look at all this. Hundreds everywhere. Okay, he's got a 54 against St Kilda and a 64 against Melbourne. That was only 2 bad games. Okay, the rest are all hundreds. Very consistent. So if you need a consistent player, Dacos is one and Flanders is the other. All right, and very reliable, very consistent. Look at Flanders. Unbelievable. Next year, he's a lock. Probably going to have defensive mid status. He'll be my first pick player next year as a defender. So, going back to our team. Sheasels did okay, 103. Luke Ryan, actually, our defence wasn't a problem, except for Dale, okay? But defence wasn't too bad. What happened with Dale? Why did he only score 88 points? Let's have a look. Well, the answer is here. 6 behinds for North Melbourne. There was no kick-ins, okay? They only had 6 behinds, okay? So he had 4 of them. You want a team to score at least 10 to 12 behind, so you can have at least 6, 7 or 8 kick-ins. So, and an extra 3 kick-ins, that's 12 points, that's your 100. So that's pretty much Dale's problem this week. There wasn't much action for him. North Melbourne, their midfield got smashed, so they didn't really do much. So we have an excuse for Dale, all right? Now, Clark scored the 101. We're happy with that. We'll take it. The Governor, the 132. He could have gone more, but had a sore thumb. Had to pull his finger out, just coming down. Anyway, he was injured. Luckily, he's playing. Then we go to Will Graham on the bench, 95. Now, this impressed me a lot. I mean, you got to understand, he outscored a few of their midfielders. So he actually had 40% mid time. That's huge. It actually almost looks like he took over Rao's position in that midfield. I was very impressed. So I want to keep him for the rest of the year. He's got defensive mid. I just need to bring in a defensive mid in here so I can alternate Graham. I might as well keep him for the rest of the year because he's looking good. Now, we go to the midfields. And North Melbourne midfielders, you've got Sheasels 103, Uniac 72, Simpkin 68. Their midfield got smashed, and they had good opposition. They had the Dogs, okay? So we expect that. The problem is they have the Dogs again, okay? They've got the Dogs coming up. Let's look at the draw. They've got Dogs in round 23, so they're going to get smashed again in that midfield. So all these players, Simpkin, Uniac, Sheasels, they may not score in round 23. They've got a few tough games. They've got Carlton as well coming up. That's going to be a tough midfield matchup. Dogs, they've got Sydney. Okay, they've got Gold Coast, whose midfield's pretty strong, although they're not, the weapons are doing much, but still. So we'll see how we go with North Melbourne, but I've just got a bit of bit concerned about Uniac, to be honest. Uniac, I brought him in for 5. I brought him in here against Port Adelaide. Got the 117. No, I got him here. Well, I paid 576. He got the 114, the 147, the 148. I replaced Crouch with him. For me, he's done his job. Okay, because his game's coming up are pretty tough. He's got Gold Coast. I mean, against Gold Coast, he scored a 109. All right, previous game. That's not too bad. He's got Sydney. Now, he's got a tag coming here. The chances are he'll cop the tag, or it's going to be flat. Who else will they tag? They won't tag Sheasel. It's going to be Uniac. They're going to cop the tag. They've got Carlton. Possibly another tag coming. Geelong. Now they're tagging. So another tag coming from Geelong. Richmond won't tag. They've got West Coast. They're going to tag. The Dogs probably won't tag. And the Hawks, they may tag in the last game. We'll see how that goes, because Hawks could be playing for a top 8 in that round, and they might have a percentage, so they may tag him. So he's got a possible of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tags coming in his next 7 games. I'm actually trading him out. Can you believe this? 636k. I'm thinking about trading him out, and I'll show you why in a minute. But Merritt's, okay, we're happy with Merritt's. Merritt's, his draw coming up. Okay, now who's he got? He's got Collingwood, no tag. Melbourne, no tag. Adelaide, no tag. Tag against St Kilda. Freo, no tag. Gold Coast, no tag. Well, he's got St Kilda, Sydney, and Brisbane. All right, and these 2 are big tags. Luckily, he's highly owned, so these 2 won't really worry. You're just not going to make him captain. Okay, so he's going to miss out on the VC, but he's got a couple of good games coming up, so why does I hold him? Sarong, we're going to hold. Butters, we're sort of a bit nervous holding Butters, although the tough game against St Kilda's gone past now. Called the 114, so very happy. Even the Brisbane game, 123. Luckily, he didn't get tagged. So these 2 were the tough ones, and he survived. Okay, so the rest are easy now. He's got the Dogs is a tough matchup, but Gold Coast, Richmond, Sydney coming up. Has he played Sydney yet? Hasn't played them. Possible tag there. That's about it. Maybe Carlton tag. Maybe. There's no GWS, thank God. Okay, because we saw what happened here. So Butter's not too bad now. Walsh. Now here's another problem. We've got a GWS tag coming. Dogs, nothing. North Melbourne tag coming. Okay, Port probably nothing. Collingwood nothing. Hawthorn possible. West Coast and St Kilda. Possibly got St Kilda might not tag him. St Kilda might tag Cripps in this game. So possible West Coast 1, maybe Hawthorn 2, and North Melbourne 3, and GWS 4. He's got 4 tags coming his way. That's a problem. Laird we're very happy with. Let me show you Laird. Now, Laird had 71% CBAs this week. Last week, previous week, he was playing defence. That's why I got him. I got him because he's a defender. I was happy with the defensive role. All of a sudden, he's gone back in the midfield again. So, the Spud's back in the midfield. So now, it's okay. I'll show you why. In the midfield at the start of the year, all right, when this pops up, okay, now, when he was in the midfield start of the year, time on ground, 69, 68, 76 there, all right, that's not too bad. 73, it's not too, it's got a 149 for 73, 69, 68, 68, had 70, scored 117. Had an 82, scored a 93. It's not too bad. It's not the best. But anyway, this week he had 75% time on ground. Last week he had 91%. So I was very happy with his time on ground has increased dramatically. This is because Crouch is out. So him and Crouch were just sharing the bench. Now he's got a bit more time on field, although it's not as much time as I would have liked. Oh, I actually liked the 91%, so he's dropped again. He's out of that defence, so it's okay. I'm happy, but I'm not really happy. But then again, I traded him out. Let me show you, okay? I didn't have much to choose from for the price. I traded him out last week. Where's that trade history? Last week we traded out Laird for Rowell. Okay, so now that's a good deal. For 4K extra, ended up getting Rowell. Ended up getting Laird. So for 4K, I got an extra 50, 60 points. So we're happy with that. Just coming down. Now, in hindsight, probably could have got Rosie. But Laird scored more than Rosie, so it doesn't matter. We're happy with Laird, okay? I'd rather have Laird than Rosie possibly M8. Going to be alternating, okay? Now, Green, he looked terrible. Then he picked up. So luckily, he had a decent second half. So 117, we'll take it. It wasn't a disaster, okay? But the North Melbourne game really killed. 72, 68... 83, that destroyed. 83 didn't matter because everyone's got Fisher, but Simpkin and Uniac, everyone doesn't have. So that hurt a lot. The Dogs game hurt when Dale only scored 88. It was Dogs and North Melbourne, so it was the same game. Now, I didn't watch this game. I had to go out, so I was being busy, family issues. So when I saw these scores, it was killing me, okay? And then Merritt scored the 78. Anyway, we move over to the Rucks. And again, Gorn doesn't matter. Everyone's got him, all right? But Grundy does. So when Grundy scored 82, I was actually happy because he was on nothing virtually at half time. So he had a good second half, picked up his scoring. If I have a trade left towards the end of the year, all right, let's have a look. Actually, Grundy's got a good game this week against St Kilda. And their Ruckman won't be Marshall. Probably be the other the rookie Ruckman because Marshall may play forward. So this could be actually a good VC option at Marvel. I'll have a think about this one. But his last couple of games, Essendon and Adelaide. All right, let's go to Carlton. And what's TDK doing in his last couple of games? Who does he play against? Okay, let's see if TDK is. Well, he's got West Coast and St Kilda, TDK. So I know it says Walsh there, but we're just talking about TDK now, the matchups. If I've got a trade left in round 23, the chances are I won't have one. But if I do have one, I'm going to switch Grundy to TDK. Okay, I'm going to go for TDK there. Just coming down. Now we go to the forward line. Zorko we VC'd, it didn't work out. Flanders. When I saw his score at half time, I was wishing I VC'd Flanders, but it didn't matter. They scored the same thing. Curnow was a big disappointment. Massive disappointment. So upset with my decision to bring in Curnow. I was going to bring in Caldwell. As you know, 2 weeks ago, I reversed that trade because I had, it was a bye round. Okay, which round was, it was in round, it was 2 weeks ago anyway, it was a bye round. And that game, well, that round, all the primos were going nuts. I had 19 primos, and I had about 14 of them already played. And on the Sunday, I decided, look, I don't need Caldwell because I'd already watched Curnow the day before, scored a 118, and everyone was very happy with Curnow. So I got jealous. Okay, I got very jealous. So I reversed my trade, and so I didn't take in Caldwell, and instead I decided to wait for Curnow, which was last week, to pick him up then. However, when I watched Caldwell play, I was very upset because I should have just taken him. I would have got an extra 39 points in the previous week because Caldwell would have made my best 18. This week, possibly an extra 70 points. That's just say 100 points extra. Just that one trade I didn't do. Okay. Now, if you go to my ranking, right, that's 100 points I just gave away. Okay, well, it's crazy. And I couldn't bring it. Now I can't get in Caldwell because I can't afford it. His price went up. Now, my current score, ranked 77, is 35,142. Now, what's 35,242 or 35,240? 35,240. I'd be ranked around about where Zorokilo is. That's Ryan's team. So I'd be ranked about 42nd, much closer to the top 10. That move killed me. However, we have more moves this week, so we're gonna fix up that mistake. But that was a big mistake. That was costly. It actually took me 5 days to recover from how upset I was. Okay, I was very upset with this trade disaster. Now, Simpkin. Okay, he didn't do the best. Did he have CBAs? Let's have a look at Simpkin. Let's go to North Melbourne. AFL. What's wrong? Well, what happened with Simpkin this week? Okay, now let's go over here. North Melbourne. CBAs. Simpkin. Well, Simpkin, he had 92% CBAs. It's not like he wasn't in the middle, okay? He had a lot of CBAs. He just got smashed. So the roll is there, okay? Actually, I didn't know it was that much, okay? The previous was only 40. So the roll's still there. He actually had more who's there? Will Phillips? He had the same as he had more than Uniac. He had a 79. How does that work? How does Uniac have 79 and Simpkin has 92? I can't work that one out. Anyway, well, that's what happened. Okay, so I'm shocked. So, after seeing that, I don't know if I really want Uniac that much. If Simpkin's going to have more CBAs, Uniac must play a bit of half forward. Anyway, and the rest are all spuzz anyway. So, that's our team from last week. Before we go to what we're going to do this week, I want to do Captain's Corner and get that out the way. All right, so let's do Captain's Corner now. Now, Captain's Corner this week, Pig Mentality, as you know now, he's become big time. Okay, he's now running for the Herald Sun. Now, they're just picking captains. So he's gone Sarong into Gorn. That's from Pig Mentality. Okay, become a superstar. Now, the Super Couch Potato, gone Bont into Gorn. Now, we haven't got many this week. Most of them have gone absent. Okay, now, JS has gone Dacos into Flanders. The land of the bishops has gone Ryan into Grundy. I actually like the Grundy move. Okay, I've been looking at that before as we talked about it. Now, Nicolastico. Okay, now last week he had Nando's. He did well. He's gone Nando's again. He's loving Nando's right now. So he's gone Nando's into Gulden. Now, Nicolastico, he's going left of field. Okay, so he's going for the options that not many people would go for. Okay, so the pod VCs and captains. Now, Legend Hen, who's having a great year, has gone Merit into the Bont. Actually, surprisingly, we don't have many Bonts here this week. Kane has gone Sarong into Gorn. So now Gorn is a big favourite this week. My boy here, Janaf, who's in the top 300s, has gone Zeret into Gorn. And Cade has gone Dacos into Sarong. So the most popular ones from the looks of it, we have a Sarong, possibly Gorn. Sarong and Gorn are the two big ones. Luke Ryan scored a 180 odd actually 190 odd when he played Richmond last time. So he went massive, but so did Sarong. And now Ryan, because he's not probably having as many kick-to-kick balls as he used to have, possibly they've gone a bit cold from him right now. So that's probably why Ryan isn't as popular. But the land of the bishops remembers that Ryan went big last time, so he's gone for Ryan. Now, before we do our trades, because I had a big think about this week's trades, lots of options, I want to show you Zach Fisher. I want to go to rankings now. Now, as we know, our boy here, Nat, from Chev's Titans, he appeared on the podcast for Al Payton, and he said he's only got 2 trades left. Now, I would assume that most of these teams here would be very similar to Nat, because they all got a spare, they're all going hard, so they would have, well, I'm in the same boat myself, so we'd all be between 2 and 3 trades left. Now, with Fisher, all right, Chef's Titans doesn't have backup, okay? Well, he does. It's Dowling. So what's he going to do now? That's going to be interesting. Is he going to trade Fisher out and go back down to 1 trade? What's Nathan going to do here? Now, Nathan's got Fisher in defence. Now, how's he going to switch here? He's got Schoenmakers. Is he going to take Schoenmakers 50? Or is he going to trade Fisher out and bring in another defender? So there's no backup here for Caddy's crew. We've got Rene, who's having a great year as well. Where's Fisher in Rene's team here? Well, Rene's actually got Jackson, so Rene's got cover. Rene is not far behind the leaders either, so Rene is actually looking good this week. The only thing with Rene is she doesn't have a spare. All he does, but in the forward line, just where you need the spare. Not that the spare, all is Jackson. So see how Jackson goes. Now, the 4th ranked team doesn't have a spare. Okay, he got Freya, Revel, or Dowling. So he could probably keep Fisher because the spares are not that bad, especially if they go 95. But that's an option for him. Now, I'm showing you these because this is what we're chasing, okay, the top 10. So we're going to make up some ground, okay, so we need to make it up. Now, Sexton is a spare here for Josh's team. Wheatbix has no spare, okay, he's got a spare. We've got Freya and Dowling, okay, as an option. So that's option there. Then we go over... who else is next? My boy, actually, we haven't Benjamin yet. That's Dot. Now, Dot has got Simpkins a spare, so Dot's got that covered. Joel is also, that's my boy from Perth Kangas, has got Simpkins, so he's got it covered. So some of the teams have got cover here, all right? Then we go to Caleb Windsor Not, okay? And now Sexton, no, he hasn't got cover. There's no cover here. Dowling is the only cover. So a lot of these teams, we go to 0 pressure. Okay, this is one of the big teams. Okay, because a very rich team, but it's dropped a bit because last week Houston, Young, Martin all sputtered up for him. However, he also doesn't have a spare for Fisher, so he may have to do a trade. Well, we've got Richards, who may play well, but anyway. So what are we going to do with So we're getting our team. What are we going to do with Fisher? Okay, who's our spare? We've got Dowling, and that's it. We've already got Dowling for him. So we're going to actually switch Dowling there, and then Fisher off there, or we can trade Fisher out. Okay, we've got a couple of options here. So we're going to think about what we're going to do with our one. However, before we do think about that, we're going to talk about the leagues. We'll go to all the results. Now, before I continue with the leagues, I've gone back to Zach Fisher again. Okay, Zach Fisher, when I looked at this last week, it was 99% owned. Now it's down to 75%. So it looks like already 25% of the coaches have made up their minds to trade out Zach Fisher. And that's a lot. Okay, now that's the top 1% we're talking about. The chances are this will probably drop down to about 50% by the time Zach Fisher plays. The best possible outcome for us was Zach Fisher getting injured. That was because it now throws a spanner in the works. Everyone owns him, all right? Everyone owns a player that they have no cover for. Now they have to decide. Here's the gamble now. You got your trades, okay, 3 trades, and then most of them will have about 3, 4, 5, 2, depends, okay, 1 even, maybe some will have 1. So, do you trade out Zach Fisher? Do you play Dowling? Do you cop the 50 from Dowling? Just take it, okay? And what if Fisher misses 2 weeks? Then what do you do? So it's brought a spanner in the works, and it's actually the best possible result for me itself anyway, because it gives me a chance now to catch up to the rest, because I could do something different, because not all our forwards are going to be the same now. So very happy with Zach Fisher missing this week. Believe it or not, it's actually done me a favour. We now go to game day. And we were matched up against Steve, SSD, Supercoach, and he was smashing me all week. Then towards the end, my players, led by the governor, came back. So luckily for us, we had a victory here. Scodfather Cup 1. Aaron's team, very unlucky, okay, 23-25 to 23, only a very 11-point margin, so, and it was a big game. It was second versus third. It was a battle of the giants, so, unfortunately for the Terminators, they got terminated. Now, Scodfather Cup 2, that's Ben's team, and unfortunately for Ben, who's also Malakovsky. Okay, now unfortunately for Ben, it was a close game, but Ben's Spuds versus my Spuds. My Spuds had a day out. Okay, now Scodfather Cup legends. Bryce Mitchell was smashing me. Okay, projector was massive. Then all of a sudden, on Sunday, things turned around for me. So we had a win here. We'll go to all the games in the Scodfather Legends soon. Now, let's go down. Scodfather Cup 4. Okay, now we played against Aaron's team, the Fillings. Okay, and unfortunately for Aaron, he copped a loss here. Now, I'm actually surprised I won so many games this week. Now, Scodfather Cup 5. That's Tate's team, the Dream Team. Okay, unfortunately for the Dream Team, they copped a hiding. Okay, so unfortunately for the young man. Now, Scodfather Cup 6. We had we got Abs Magic versus Moorabbin Magic. Okay, lots of magic happening in this game, and it was a close game for Josh's team, the Moorabbin Magic. They lost to the Abs Magic. Just coming down. Now, and in the last game, we had Alec, that's Warner Brothers, and we copped a hiding. Okay, 23-70 to 23-36. We got smashed. Okay, unfortunately. Now, did I miss one? Did I go through all these? Scodfather Cup. I must have gone through all of them. Anyway. Okay. There's one more. Scodfather Cup 3. I must have missed this one. And my boy here, Stefan, from Healing Hikes. He smashed us by 10 points. He was actually winning by about 100 points, but my Spuds on Sunday had a day out, so it was a close game at the end. Our Spuds couldn't catch up to him, so congrats to Stefan. Now, we had some close games. We had Damon, 22-64, had a 1-point nail-biter win over MJ. He would have been bleeding. 22-63, so a 1-point win here. We had our Al Payton, who's been flying. Unfortunately, last week he had a bit of a disaster. Had the wrong captain. Everything that could go wrong for Al went wrong. So Steve's team here, SSD, had a win over Al. Pistol had a big week, 23-56. That's a massive score, okay? And George Terrors got terrorized this week from the Terrifying Glues, okay? Is that what it's called, Terrifying Glue? Anyway, now it was a very terrifying game with George Terrors and the Terrifying Glues. Now, JP went back down to earth with the centre bounce, and the centre bounce, my boy here, Joe, had a 10-point victory over JP. The Mini Monk, check this out, 24-83. He went nuts, okay? And he was in, the Mini Monk was in the top 200 about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Dropped to the top 1100-ish around there. Now back at the top 500. One big score. That's all it takes. He had a massive win over Tim, and Tim Mitchell been bleeding 200 points. Huge win. Now we had Jackson Davey had probably one of his worst weeks, 21-84, and Swizz's team 22-27 took the chocolates this weekend. Januf's team, also not the best, 20-53, but had a win over Supercoach Insiders Ben's team, 22-26. We talked about Abs Magic. Selby had a bad week as well, 21-98, okay, and Horses for Courses, they've won 2 in a row now, they're on fire, and they're off the bottom now, and 22-94, they're very happy young men, Horses for Courses. And we had Supercoach of DR, 23-15, had a victory over Dan Batten, 22-74. Now, let's have a look at the league and the ladder, and is there any change? Because we can't remove Januf from the top. View the league. Now, we've got Januf sitting at the top still on 52 points. DR's breathing down my neck. Okay, there's a 3 of us here. We're virtually guaranteed top 4. And then we've got Al Payton, Damon, and the Mini Monk. The 3 of the world, the 3 of them are going to fight for double chance. Let's see who, and the percentages are very close, 101.7, 101.3, 101.2. It's very tight. Then, fighting for the top 8, we've got Dan Batten, Tim Mitchell, and Pistol. And just behind them, there's Jackson Davey, George, Joe from centre bounce. So there's actually quite a few. Even Selby's not far behind than JP. So it's a very close tussle for the top 8. Now back to the bottom of the ladder, and this week we're down to unfortunately for Bryce Mitchell down the bottom here on 12 points. Unfortunately, because he should have won this week, and even MJ lost by a point. So unfortunate for both boys. We now go to the rankings, and we're looking at Chev's Titans at the top still, at ranked number 1. He's killing it, the young man. And we've got Perth Kangas at number 8. So we've actually got 2 teams at the top 10. We have another 2 teams. We've got Wango, Zero Pressure, and Louisa, Dusty AF. Now, these 2 teams were in the top 10 recently, so just dropped off a little bit. They might come back. Jesse Express, 28th. Jared's team, the Curtain Call, is 33rd. We got the astronaut, the man from space. That's Avrab's team, 34th. You got Jamie, my boy here. Had a bad week this week. It dropped 13 spots, but still in top 45. So he's doing well. Silver Top Hurleys. We have the Big Bonner. That's Rish's team, coming 48th. We got Dow or Never, who was our leader at one stage. Had a really bad week, 22-39, and now coming 62nd. Jimmy's Doodle team, okay, this week, they had a big week, and they're coming 65th. We got Sarong's Busto Wright coming 67th. We got Matthew Johnson, that's Lachlan's team, 76. And just behind him, we have Abs Magic coming at 77. We're 3 points behind, one extra spot. And we have my boy here, Syed, who was also ranked 1 at one stage, coming 79th. Very, very close. We got the man is always hungry. This is Hung's team. He's very hungry. And coming 80th. So we've got 16 teams in the top 80. Now, this brings me to the trades this week, and I haven't decided what I want to do. Okay, option is to trade out Fisher. Okay, we trade out Fisher, and we only got 5. We're bringing Caldwell after 2 weeks of missing out on his points, and we're bringing Caldwell. Okay, so that's one possibility. So what this does, okay, it doesn't make our team any stronger. It makes it the same thing, but now we don't have Fisher anymore. So the following week, if Fisher starts going 120s and 130s, we don't have his scores, okay? Although there is a chance that his scoring may drop once the coach comes back. So it's something to think about. However, if we don't do that trade, okay, let's undo that trade. Projection is 25-11 with that trade. Actually, hang on. If we optimize, what's our projection with that trade? 25-48. Okay, so let's undo that trade. How do we undo this? Okay, confirm. Now, if I want to bring in a spare player, all right, I've got Graham, who's actually doing okay. So I don't really want. Let's have a look at Graham's heat maps. Now we've got here Anderson 74% CBAs, Matt Rowell at 65. He's dropped out. Took Miller at 32, and Will Graham at 45. So Will Graham's got more CBAs than Took Miller right now. And that's huge. And then we got Flanders at 87. Will Graham, okay, Where's he playing? Let's have a look where he's playing right now. Because he may be good enough to keep now. Well, he scored at 1.18 points per minute last week. He only had 65% time on ground. Massive scoring, 1.18. That's huge. Mainly midfield. There's a chance that he may get more time on ground, score more points. Could be a keeper. When you got a player scoring at 1.2 points per minute, you don't trade them out. I can't trade out Will Graham. So that's a problem now for me. See, the previous week, what did he do? All right, let's have a look. The previous week, I'll get over here. He didn't have as many CBAs, only 23%. He had more time on ground, 80% time on ground. Okay, 53. So he didn't do as much the previous week. It's virtually on the wing. Now, he's had a role change. That's his role now. Whereas last week was on the wing. Graham is actually looking really good. And mind you, they won. So even the previous week, where did he play the previous week? Again, more, sort of midfield wingish. His role is much better now. Now, let's have a look at Matt Rowell's role. Okay, so if he's gone there, what's Matt Rowell doing? Okay, where's he shifted to? Let's get back over here. Okay, so Matt Rowell. Okay, Supercoach. Now, Matt Rowell, time on ground has decreased from 85% to 79%. CBAs have decreased, okay. Points per minute, his points per minute have been very low, 0.81, 0.80, 0.84. Start of the year, they were 1.6, 1.26, 1.3, massive. It's dropped off big time. Even in a score where he scored 111, it wasn't that big still, 1.07. His heat map, it's still midfield, but there's a bit of wing there, okay? Let's have a look at the previous week. Well, previous week, there's not much midfield again, okay? Previous week before that, that's a better map. That's the 117 score. Anyway, we don't have Rowell, but for me, Graham seems to be the man. Okay, so we're going to hold on to Graham. So if we hold on to Graham, all right, the only cash we've got is 17k cash. The only cash we got is 174 from Yun. Okay, he's doing nothing. We have 171 from Dowling, but we must keep him because he's still scoring and is a spare. And we've got Clark, who's actually been dropped. Okay, so if we take Clark's cash out, we've got 266k. For 266k, you can't buy much these days, all right? Especially if we're keeping Graham. So who can we bring in for 266k? There was only the Geelong defender. Actually, if we go here, players I can afford. Forget the Geelong defender for now. Sam Berry. 254k. The only problem with Berry is it doesn't solve my issue in the forward line. So I have to play Dowling. But let's have a look at Sam Berry's heat maps now. Now, Sam Berry had 57% CBAs this week. Rankin had 43%. We had Saligo on 61%. Dawson at 50%. And Laird at 71%. So Laird was the main man. And then the second main man was between Saligo and Berry. Now, if we go to Sam Berry's heat map, let's see how much time on ground he had. Mind you, he's been sub a few times recently as well, as you can see here. So it's a bit of a risk, okay? He only had 65% time on ground, so it's not much. Scoring 1.33 points per minute. And Adelaide won. So usually when you win, you get to play again. So his heat maps, they're not bad, okay? He's not a primo, all right? So you're not bringing in a primo, you're bringing in a spare that's going to possibly get subbed out or subbed in probably high risk. Okay, I'll probably pass. At this time of the year, whoever you bring in, you keep. Now, if we bring in Berry and he's a sub, he's as good as Bytel for me. There's no good. Okay, so there's no point. I want someone that's going to stay there. The other option is Humpty. Okay, last year we saw a Humpty go nuts, and this is another Humpty that could go nuts. So if we're bringing Humpty with the other trade, or with the one trade, okay, we're bringing Humpty. His heat map looked really good. Now, he even took a kick in. He didn't play on from the kick in. At Geelong, no one's taking kick-ins now. They're all shy. Okay, now you had one for Stewart, one for Guthrie, and Guthrie didn't play on either. Only three kick-ins were played on from, which was Stewart, Holmes, and Tui. So the kick-ins are not relevant anymore. I want to see where Stewart played last week and where Humphreys played. I want to see if Humpty has actually got a bit of Stewart's role. Because we know Stewart played in the midfield, had a lot of CBA, 80% CBAs. But what I want to see is actually where did he play after the CBAs? He didn't. He stayed in the middle. Stewart did. Okay, so Tom Stewart played as a midfielder last week. That's incredible. Okay, now it didn't even go in defence. Usually just pure midfielder. So what happened was Humpty, previous week, where did Stewart play? Let's keep this map around here, okay? Now, Humpty, right? Geelong's an interesting one this week, okay? So when you go to Humpty, and you go to his Supercoach, all right, where did he play? All right, there's only one game, okay? And it's here. And he played pretty similar to where, if you have a look, that's the map for Stewart, all right? And that's the map for Humpty. It's very similar to Stewart's role. So he's virtually got Stewart's role, and Stewart's gone in the midfield. That's what I'm seeing, okay? I could be wrong. I can't recall watching this game, but it's what's showing me. So it's quite interesting. So Humpty at 117K could be the real deal. So if we bring in Humpty, okay, let's complete this trade. All right, if we bring in Humpty for Clark, we have 149K left. Who else can we bring in? Well, we can trade out Yoon, who's doing nothing, okay, and we'll try to bring in a forward here to accommodate for Fisher. And by bringing in Humpty, I can switch Graham and Humpty between roles here. So it's actually handy. So if I bring it now, who can I afford for 323K is the question now. Players I can afford. And there aren't many, okay? Average. Well, there's Richards, okay? Riley Garcia's not playing. Waitman is, going by the average, there's not much, okay? Fraser, we just got rid of him. Revel, there's nothing, okay? You can't do much. You can only get Joe Richards. And do we trust Joe Richards? Okay, Joe Richards, it's not like Joe Richards the primo, right? So Joe Richards, he's got a 107, a 60, and a 100. He would have kicked a few goals to get these scores, so I'm not sure I can trust Joe Richards. Okay, so I can't really do much unless we keep this 149K, trade out the Fish, okay, and that gives us 652K. Can bring in Rankin for the Fish. That's another option, all right? And if we do this trade, actually, it's not a bad option. So if we do this trade, if we optimize, our score doesn't do much, 25-36. Anyway, it's an option. And let's think outside the box now, okay? We're coming towards the end of the year, round 17. We need to score points. If we do two trades, we're going to have one trade left. We need to now bring in spares. I want to keep Fisher, all right? I want to keep Fisher. I want to keep Graham. So what are we going to do? Okay, we don't have many choices now. So where's our cash? We have Uniac, 636K. Okay. We went through this before, but in case you missed it, okay, in case you fast forwarded to the end, now with Uniac, the draw coming up, as we mentioned, we have a tag from Sydney coming up, a possible tag from Carlton coming up, a tag from Geelong coming up, a tag from West Coast coming up. The Dogs won't tag him. They didn't tag him last week. Mind you, he didn't do much against the Dogs, 72. Against Sydney, what did he score? Against Gold Coast, what did he score? 109. The Dogs didn't do much. Did he play Hawthorn? 101 against Hawthorn. But they didn't tag him back then. They may tag him this time. Against West Coast, scored a 114. So he may go good against West Coast. Geelong and Richmond, as he played down. Against Geelong, 87. He didn't do much. Against Richmond, he'll go nuts. Okay, only one game here that he'll go nuts. You got possibly a 100 and a 100 in these two games. Maybe a 100 against Gold Coast. Say another 100 there. But he's got some poor games coming up. He's going to go for roughly around about a 110 average, maybe a 100 average in the next 7 games. He's 636k. He's taking all my cash. He's done good for us. We're happy with it, except for last week. But he's done very good. We're very happy with what he's done. We banked the 147, the 148, the 114. We banked all these points. How many people own him? Let's have a look. In the top 1%, 26% own him. Okay, so he's a bit of a pod, but not much of a pod. All right, so every 4th coach has got him. Now, all right, let's get back here. If we were to trade him out, I know it sounds crazy. Okay, we're playing Supercoach with 1 trade left. An injury can happen any minute. Okay, we need backups. Okay, and he's got the cash. Now, if we take his cash, 636, and we take Clark's cash, that gives us 900k. With 900k, if we bring in from North Melbourne the Kirch, okay, now his break even, all right, it's as low as you can get him right now, okay. He's going to take all the kick-ins. We're going to have the fish missing, so the Kirch is going to take all the kick-ins. The Kirch's previous few. Actually, let's get back here. What happened to the Kirch? Where did he go? Okay, there he is. With Kirch, season stats. His last 3 games, 102, 135, and 91. They're not as big as Uniac's scores as you saw, all right? However, the draw coming up, okay, he's got Richmond, he's got West Coast, he's got Hawthorn, he's got Geelong. They all concede points. Even Gold Coast concede points. It's not a bad draw coming up for him. Now, if we bring in the Kirch, okay, then if we bring in, let's go to, so we've got Kirch there, and if we also bring in from Essendon, Caldwell, all right, let me complete this. I just want to show you something, okay? We can still play around with this, but it doesn't have to be these 2 players, all right? But if we do this now, what happens is we have a spare Caldwell that floats all over the place, all right, who becomes Simpkin, who can float all over the place. We have a spare in Graham. Graham can switch at any time with McKercher. So if a midfielder is injured or a defender, we've got so many to play with right now. All right, and so we've virtually got Simpkin, Dowling, and Graham. Well, Graham and Simpkin being the 2 higher scorers, but McKercher is not the best of scorers, although his scores aren't that bad. Now, if we don't get McKercher, it means we can't get in Caldwell, but we can bring in somebody else. Okay, let's have a look. So I'm going to get my notepad out. All right. And first up, let's see which combo is a better combo. All right. We have Caldwell plus the Coach. Okay, that's one. Number two, now if we take out Caldwell, trade him out, and let's take out the Coach. Okay, take him out. Let's move Dacos. Actually, let's keep Dacos there. Let's go to the Dogs, Western Bulldogs. And let's bring in Ed Richards. So bring in Richards, and then players I can afford. Now, as a spare, I can bring in Fife. Okay, now that's one option. So we have Fife. Fife and Richards is one combo. All right. Now, if we don't go for Richards, we've got a couple of options. Take Richards out. All right, let's push Dacos there. I want a defensive mid, all right? So a defender anyway. I'll need a defender. Players I can afford. It can be Newman, Blakey, Whitfield, Hinge, Yo. There's not many to choose from, okay? None of these are like, Stewart. If we bring in Stewart there, all right, let's put Stewart, then we don't need Nat Fife. Who else can we afford? Can we afford? We've got Shy Bolton we can afford, but he's not the best. Can we afford the West Coast boy? Actually, let's get rid of Stewart. All right, let's bring in Harley Reid. Now, who can we afford? Players I can afford. Well, we've got Oliver. Okay, Clayton, not the Spud. Okay, you can afford him. Let's go average. It's Connor Rosie. I mean, he's not that bad. Okay, I thought he'd be worse. Okay, 111, 1over. He's not the best. Okay, but he's not the worst. I'm actually losing on this deal, okay? Because I'm bringing in, I'm losing big time on this deal. Actually, I prefer the Caldwell and McKercher deal than the Harley Reid and Rosie. But anyway, let's put it down here. Reid plus Rosie. Okay, that's one. Then we had Fife plus Richards. That's two. So we've got three of them now. What else can we do? Let's have a look. Well, another move I can do, which is probably, I'm not sure if I like it, but I can put Richards as a spare. All right. So now I've got another spare in Richards. However, with Richards as a spare, I can actually also bring in any midfielder I want. So I could bring in Neil, Dunkley, Trelaw, or Goulden. Okay. So that's another option. Okay, let's write this down. So we've got Jay Richards plus any gun. Okay, I could bring anyone I want. Okay, so I could bring the best of the best. Okay, so any gun plus Jay Richards. That's another option. Now, I've got another option here. I can go to Geelong. I could bring in Tom Stewart as a spare. The problem is I'm going to be playing Stewart and looping with Graham. Now, Stewart's a bit of a midfield role, but he didn't score much. So he's not like he's a jet at the moment. So I could bring in Stewart, and then players I can afford. There's not many left. Okay, now if we go by average, you got Myers. Actually, let's go last round. There's Pickett. Who else is there? There's Elijah Hollands. Now, what's he scored lately? Let's have a look. He's not too bad. 93, 84. Typical forward, okay? Not doing a lot. I mean, against Richmond, 93 is not much. Geelong, he's not going nuts. And even here, 48, 55, 57. It's not like he's going nuts, okay? So I don't really like Hollands. There's not many options. Even Nat Fife. Okay, Did he do anything different last week? All right, let's have a look at net. What was the difference between Sydney and Gold Coast game? Let's have a look at net 5. Well, against Gold Coast, 5 had 38% CBAs. Actually, 5 has had 76% against Sydney. He had more CBAs than Sarong and Brayshaw. Okay, speaking of Brayshaw, what's he been doing lately? Okay, let's have a look. Brayshaw seems to be scoring not too bad lately. He's got Richmond this week. Okay, now what's Brayshaw been doing? CBAs, he's getting his fair share of CBAs lately. Supercoach points, they're not happening. Okay, so forget about Brayshaw. Let's get back here. Okay, back over here. Let's go back to 5 now. Okay, now, we don't know how much. Maybe he's in beast mode now, okay? Maybe that was beast mode, 76%. I don't know what they were talking about when they said beast mode, when you only had CBAs, where are they, 38%. So, when he had 86%, he scored 60. When he has 71%, he scored 89. So, he's not really scoring a lot. 64%, scored 51. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence, okay? Time on ground, 82%. Actually, time on ground's a lot, 82% compared to all the other games. So, scoring at 0.91, no, I'm going to pass on 5. Or, we do no trades, okay? We put Dowling over here, put Fisher over here. Okay, do we really need to trade? Okay, we just got a bit of a loss this week. Okay, optimize. We're 24. We lose 40 points or 50 points this week. That's another possibility. Okay, although 50 points right now is a lot of points. Okay, we can't afford to lose 50 points, but that's another option. Okay, no trades. Let me think of one more trade now. Now, the next trade that we can do is, because I need to bring in a mid defender here so I can rotate Graham, all right? So the next option here is I can bring in Jack Sinclair, all right? I know I'm sidewaying Uniac for Sinclair, I understand, okay? But I'm opening up a spot here so I can rotate my Graham around as well. So I'm actually, even though I'm sideways trading, I'm actually fixing up my my DPPs, which gives me more options. But then I have to bring in from Collingwood because there's no one else. Players I can afford. There's no one that's going to score points except for if you go by average, Joe Richards. Now he scored 36 last week, but it's not as bad as it sounds, because if you go to his heat maps, let's go AFL. Okay, let's go to Collingwood. Let's go to this game here. And if you go to Joe Ritchie, he was the sub. All right, now how much time on ground did he have to score these points? Let's have a look. He scored a 0.81 points per minute, which is similar to his going rate. 0.96, 0.65, 1.01. He's not setting the world on fire. Did he kick a goal? The good thing is no goals in there, so it's not too bad. It's roughly good for an 80, all right? For a spare, that's not the worst, all right? Where are we? Okay, so that's not the worst thing we can have. And if we complete this trade, what I've done is I've virtually haven't improved my team much. I've brought in a player that might get tagged this week, Sinclair, because the tag's against Sydney, so he might cop a tag. So maybe it's not the best move this week. No, it's not the best move. So here are all my options, okay? No trades, Okay, that's one option. Okay, usually as Magic and no trades don't get along. Okay, but we've got no trade options. One trade, Fisher to Caldwell, or two trades. And that's going to be Uniac and, where is he? And Clark out. And we can bring in Caldwell and Kirch, Reed and Rosie, Fife and Richards, and that's Ed Richards. Okay, that's Fife and Ed Richards, or Joe Richards and a gun. That one I'm going to cross off. I'm not interested. Fife, I'm not interested. Okay, that leaves me with Reed plus Rosie, and Rosie can also be. It could be Rosie or it could be Stewart. Okay, same thing. So Reed plus Rosie / Stewart, or Caldwell plus Kirch. At the moment, I'm leaning towards Caldwell plus Kirch. But I'm not sure. I'm very confused. It's just coming down. I don't know what I'm going to do. So at the moment, I'm leaving it blank. Okay, I haven't decided what I want to do, because the other option, okay, which I didn't mention, is we trade out Graham. Okay, which we don't want to trade out. Okay, we bring in the Geelong boy, Humpty. Okay, Humpty comes in, and then we trade out Clark, and that gives us fourth. I mean, I don't mind this one, because what this does, okay, we get to keep Uniac. All right, we have Harley Reid now. Let's complete that trade. That's also two trades gone. Okay, we have Harley Reid. Now Harley Reid can cover pretty much anywhere. Humpty can cover anywhere. And I can loop Harley Reid with Simpkin once Fisher is back. Okay, so that's another option. Although it's going to be hard to loop them because they got Yun there. But I still can, because if I put, let's just say, put emergency on Simpkin, if he plays early, and let's say he scores big, then I can move Kieran Brown down there. Okay, so it can still be done, even with Yun in the team. So that's another option. Okay, something to think about anyway. Okay, I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for joining. And remember one thing. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.